What is up, guys? Kackis here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today we've got some brand spankin' new Destiny 2 news, courtesy of the Bungie weekly update that has just gone live, unveiling official information. And so, let's get started. Now, the big news this week is that Bungie finally released a teaser trailer about the next chapter in Destiny 2. And yesterday, I covered that not just in a quick trailer breakdown pumped out for views, but instead went over all of the different theories and evidence and everything we know so far about this next chapter. However, I did make a big mistake, and I wanted to address that quickly. In the video, you clearly see that the Drifter is heading to an icy moon of Jupiter. However, I did say that this moon, although Europa is the most commonly known icy moon of Jupiter, could also be Enceladus, another moon of Jupiter, as we know of this moon from Cade 6 releasing a cryptic message to Petrovenge saying it's on Enceladus, referring to the deep stone crypt where the exos were created. However, the problem is that Enceladus is not a moon of Jupiter, but rather it's a moon of Saturn. So where we see them going is definitely Europa. However, I wouldn't be counting out Enceladus just yet because of this concept art. This is official concept art. It's a strange structure on an icy planetary object. And then when we look at the Deep Stone Crypt related emblem from Destiny, it's a tower. I think these are very much related. I think this concept art depicts the Deep Stone Crypt. However, you've got to ask yourself, do you think we're going to two different icy moons in Destiny 2? Probably not. And so I think it's very possible that Bungie originally planned to have the crypt on Enceladus, but changed their mind. They knew they were going to Europa and went, look, it's the much more recognizable planetary object. We're going there. Let's instead move the Deep Stone Crypt onto Europa. So we could have what was originally planned for this other moon all taking place on the icy moon of Europa. And all of this concept art for these icy planetary objects that has appeared for Destiny, that's all taking place in this one location. I think that's very possible. So I want to mention that. Now, let's talk about the brand new news. Right off the bat, Bungie brought attention to some very worthy charities. Of course, with everything going on right now, Bungie has come out in support of Black Lives Matter and lists a bunch of charities that will help that initiative as well. Of course, it is Pride Month, and they have some initiatives for that as well, and an exclusive emblem for that as well. And these initiatives at a base level are just people trying to improve the livelihood of themselves and their communities. So I think overall it's a positive thing. If you guys want to support them, of course, the original TWAB is linked in the description down below, and it has a ton of links to these initiatives. But moving on from there, of course, June 9th, 2020, 9 a.m. Pacific. This is the date that is just what Bungie is throwing out there into the ether. And this is genuinely confused a lot of people, including myself, because June 9th, that is also the date that this season is supposed to end. Bungie has stated specifically that you have to get all of your Warmind stuff done, everything by June 9th. They've released two different teaser trailers of the Drifter and Eris going to Europa, and they could release more teaser trailers. In fact, there is some rumors and evidence that they will release additional teaser trailers over the coming days, likely showing just different characters heading to this point. So what the heck is this revealing? Is this year 4? Is this season 11? That's the million-dollar question. But I think it's pretty safe to say that we are not going to be going to Europa with Season 11. Seasons are generally smaller pieces of content than full DLCs. We haven't got new areas with any season. And this is backed up by the fact that Paul Tassi from Forbes tweeted out that he was informed, likely from someone at Bungie, that no, come June 9th, you're not going to log on, and then Europa is a new planet you can go to, right? Like, that's not going to happen, so likely this is teasing year 4. However, I wouldn't be surprised if it ties in very nicely with Season 11. But continuing on from there, on June 9th, of course, with the launch of a new season, there's going to be a big update hitting the game. It's update 2.9.0, and here are some previews of that. Firstly, in terms of some Eververse changes. Legendary armor ornaments, Bungie has stated in a previous TWAB, they're removing those from next season from Eververse, like the new ones, and they're putting them into the game as aspirational content. So you're going to earn next season, Season 11's armor ornaments actually in-game for doing certain things. And therefore, Season of Opulence's Intrepid ornament sets are being put back into the Eververse store next season. Also, the Season's Pass. So they added an additional 2,300 bright dust to the Season 11 Season's Pass, which is fantastic. You're going to be able to buy more stuff now. Also, in terms of bright dust purchases, they added a flare section to feature shaders and spawn effects. Also, highly requested items from previous seasons will once again be available. And they say, we're looking at you, Wishes of Sorrow. They also say, we will once again communicate Season 11 silver-only items at the beginning of the season. We're expecting to have an update later in Season 11 on further changes to Bright Dust acquisition, so keep your eyes peeled. Great news all around. And again, Bungie has gone out in a previous time and said, we're really dialing back Eververse. It won't be as egregious as it is currently. Next up, some sandbox changes. So the big change here is that the powerful Friends armor mod will no longer stack. If multiple copies of this mod are equipped, the mods will provide no bonus stats. And yeah, that's a big change. Powerful Friends for Hunters was a key part of a lot of different high mobility builds, so just keep that in mind. Moving on, enhanced auto rifle loader, enhanced fusion rifle loader, and enhanced bow loader armor mods will now drop from Pinnacle mod sources. So if you need one of those, if you're in the Nightfall and so on, those will start dropping, which is great. Okay, raid rewards. This is actually a really interesting one. The following raid exotics have now had an increased drop chance. So the 1K Voices and the Anarchy and the Always On Time, which is the exotic Sparrow from Scourge of the Past. So the drop chance currently, it begins at 10%. So the first time you do it, 10% chance to get these items. And then it increases to a max of 50% over 20 clears. So if you've done that Scourge of the Past raid 20 times, then every single time you do it, it's a 50% chance to get that exotic. That is a phenomenal change. Firstly, I'm surprised the Teraba is not on here. I don't know why it wouldn't be. Maybe that's already implemented with the Teraba, but it certainly doesn't seem like it for a lot of people. But I'm very much in favor of this. I think that if you don't have an exotic quest and you're just relying on it randomly, of course, getting a raid exotic is super exciting. Often they're very good. The Anarchy is arguably one of the best exotics in the entire game for PvE. So giving people a more reasonable chance to keep farming and, have a better chance to acquire it is fantastic. And frankly, this should be the standard going forward for everything like this. Moving on, we have some changes to Trials of Osiris rewards. So, additional Masterwork material rewards now drop at 3, 5, and 7 wins. They added a Trials weekly bounty, which unlocks Trials engrams on Saint 14. The bounty reward will match the Win 3 milestone reward of the week, and that is a very big deal because essentially it means that you don't actually have to get to 3 wins if you're being, completely roadblocked by bounty farmers, or I should say token farmers. You can win a couple games, win 1 game, lose all your games, but once you complete that bounty, you're going to be able to technically get whatever the 3rd win reward is, but most importantly, that means that you can turn in all of your Trials tokens, where currently if you don't get to 3 wins, they just sit in your inventory and rot away at the end of the weekend. So great change there. Also, Trials tokens distribution has been rebalanced to focus on wins 3, 5, and 7 of a Trials passage. This includes repeat passages. Trials tokens are no longer awarded from match completions, so tokens are now granted specifically through wins and bounties. Okay. Passage of Wealth now doubles the bonus Trials tokens earned at 3, 5, and 7 Trials wins. And again, that's done to combat token farmers. Okay, continuing on from their huge news, if you play Destiny 2 on a console, coming next season, Bungie is actually going to introduce custom controller layouts. That is right. Just like keyboard remapping and mouse button remapping on PC, you're now going to be able to, with Destiny 2, completely customize your mapping of your controller, which is absolutely fantastic news, especially if you have something like an ASTRO C40 controller, which comes with additional buttons on the bottom. You can program stuff to that as well. So this is frankly a buff to consoles. Like, I can't really think of another way to describe it. The fact that you can now have these custom layouts is huge. It lets you play the game how you want to play, and it lets you fix things that don't feel comfortable for you, etc. So absolutely fantastic change. Something though that they did kind of want to mention is that, of course, when you have custom remapping, you have some somewhat complicated labeling. So they have press, long press, and double press when it comes to picking certain actions. Of course, you have weapons that their exotic abilities have you hold down, kind of reload and stuff like that. So you're going to have like double press delays and so on. So you can adjust a lot of these different features with this remapping, and this should make it, just perform a lot better on console. Again, I just want to mention the fact that you can have multiple additional buttons and paddles with controllers these days are going to make this much more of a bigger deal than it is with a default controller. And then the last thing I'm going to mention is the timeline for the June 9th update 2.9.0. So here it is. At 9 a.m. it begins server maintenance. At 9:45 it's going to be taken off all platforms. And then at 10 a.m. Pacific, the update is going to start rolling out, and you can start downloading it and all of that stuff. At 10:01, apparently it's being brought back online, and at 2 p.m., the server maintenance concludes. Guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, found this informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at @RickKackis. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.